Why I Go to the Wilderness, an excerpt from Adventures in the Wilderness or Camp Life in the Adirondacks by W.H.H. Murray, published in 1869. Coffee Break Collection 32, Wilderness. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. This recording is by Michelle Fry, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, in May 2021. Why I Go to the Wilderness. The Adirondacks Wilderness, or the North Woods, as it is sometimes called, lies between the Lakes George and Champlain on the east and the River St. Lawrence on the north and west. It reaches northward as far as the Canada line and southward to Boonville. Its area is about that of the state of Connecticut. The southern part is known as the Brown Tract region, with which the whole wilderness by some is confused, but with no more accuracy than any one county might be said to comprise an entire state. Indeed, Brown's Tract is the least interesting portion of the Adirondack region. It lacks the lofty mountain scenery, the intricate meshwork of lakes, and the wild grandeur of the country to the north. It is the lowland district, comparatively tame and uninviting. Not until you reach the Roquette do you get a glimpse of the magnificent scenery which makes this wilderness to rival Switzerland. There, on the very ridgeboard of the vast watershed which slopes northward to the St. Lawrence, eastward to the Hudson, and southward to the Mohawk, you can enter upon a voyage the like of which it is safe to say the world does not anywhere else furnish. For hundreds of miles I have boated up and down that wilderness, going ashore only to carry around a fall or cross some narrow ridge dividing the otherwise connected lakes. For weeks I have paddled my cedar shell in all directions, swinging northerly into the St. Regis chain, westward nearly to Potsdam, southerly to the Black River country, and from thence penetrated to that almost unvisited region, the South Branch, without seeing a face but my guide's, and the entire circuit, it must be remembered, was through a wilderness yet to echo to the lumberman's axe. It is estimated that 1,000 lakes, many yet unvisited, lie embedded in this vast forest of pine and hemlock. From the summit of a mountain 2 years ago, I counted, as seen by my naked eye, 44 lakes gleaming amid the depths of the wilderness like gems of purest ray amid the folds of emerald-colored velvet. Last summer I met a gentleman on the Raquette who had just received a letter from a brother in Switzerland, an artist by profession, in which he said that, quote, having traveled all over Switzerland and the Rhine and Rhone region, he had not met with scenery which, judged from a purely artistic point of view, combined so many beauties in connection with such grandeur as the lakes, mountains, and forest of the Adirondack region presented to the gazer's eye. End quote. And yet thousands are in Europe today as tourists who never gave a passing thought to this marvelous country, lying as it were at their very doors. Another reason why I visit the Adirondacks, and urge others to do so, is because I deem the excursion eminently adapted to restore impaired health. Indeed, it is marvelous what benefit physically is often derived from a trip of a few weeks to these woods. To such as are afflicted with that dire parent of ills, dyspepsia, or have lurking in their system consumptive tendencies, I most earnestly recommend a month's experience among the pines. The air which you there inhale is such as can be found only in high mountainous regions, pure, rarefied, and bracing. The amount of venison steak a consumptive will consume after a week's residence in that appetizing atmosphere is a subject of daily and increasing wonder. I have known delicate ladies and fragile schoolgirls to whom all food at home was distasteful, and eating a pure matter of duty, average a gain of £1 pound per day for the round trip. This is no exaggeration, as some who will read these lines know. The spruce, hemlock, balsam, and pine, which largely compose this wilderness, yield upon the air, and especially at night, all their curative qualities. Many a night have I laid down upon my bed of balsam boughs and been lulled to sleep by the murmur of waters and the low sighing melody of the pines, while the air was laden with the mingled perfume of cedar, of balsam, and the water lily. Not a few, far advanced in that dread disease, consumption, have found in this wilderness renewal of life and health. I recall a young man, the son of wealthy parents in New York, who lay dying in that great city, attended as he was by the best skill that money could secure. A friend, calling upon him one day, chanced to speak of the Adirondacks, and that many had found help from a trip to their region. From that moment he pined for the woods. He insisted on what his family called his insane idea that the mountain air and the aroma of the forest would cure him. It was his daily request and entreaty that he might go. At last his parents consented, the more readily because the physicians assured them that their son's recovery was impossible, and his death a mere matter of time. They started with him for the north in search of life. When he arrived at the point where he was to meet his guide, he was too reduced to walk. The guide, seeing his condition, refused to take him into the woods, fearing, as he plainly expressed it, that he would die on his hands. At last another guide was prevailed upon to serve him, not so much for the money, as he afterwards told me, but because he pitied the young man, and felt that one so near death as he was should be gratified even in his whims. The boat was half filled with cedar, pine, and balsam boughs, and the young man, carried in the arms of his guide from the house, was laid at full length upon them. The camp utensils were put at one end, the guide seated himself at the other, and the little boat passed with the living and the dying down the lake, and was lost to the group watching them amid the islands to the south. This was in early June. The first week the guide carried the young man on his back over all the portages, lifting him in and out of the boat as he might a child. But the healing properties of the balsam and pine, which were his bed by day and night, began to exert their power. Awake or asleep, he inhaled their fragrance. Their pungent and healing odors penetrated his diseased and irritated lungs. The second day out, his cough was less sharp and painful. At the end of the first week, he could walk by leaning on the paddle. The second week, he needed no support. The third week, the cough ceased entirely. From that time, he improved with wonderful rapidity. He went in the 1st of June, carried in the arms of his guide. The second week of November, he came out, bronzed as an Indian and as hardy. In 5 months, he had gained 65 pounds of flesh, and flesh, too, well packed on, as they say in the woods. Coming out, he carried the boat over all portages, the very same over which a few months before the guide had carried him, and pulled as strong an oar as any amateur in the wilderness. His meeting with his family I leave the reader to imagine. The wilderness received him almost a corpse. It returned him to his home and the world, as happy and healthy a man as ever bivouacked under its pines. This, I am aware, is an extreme case, and as such may seem exaggerated, but it is not. I might instance many other cases which, if less startling, are equally corroborative of the general statement. There is one sitting near me as I write, the color of whose cheeks and the clear brightness of whose eyes cause my heart to go out in ceaseless gratitude to the woods, amid which she found that health and strength of which they are the proof and sign. For 5 summers have we visited the wilderness. From 4 to 7 weeks each year we have breathed the breath of the mountains, bathed in the waters which sleep at their base, and made our couch at night of moss and balsam boughs beneath the whispering trees. I feel, therefore, that I am able to speak from experience touching this matter, and I believe that, all things being considered, no portion of our country surpasses, if indeed any equals in health-giving qualities, the Adirondack wilderness. End of Why I Go to the Wilderness.